Bless each one of us around this podium tonight. May you give us the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to act in the benefit of our parish here, Lord. And we thank you for our wonderful state, Father, and we ask that you continue to bless our soldiers abroad and also our people here at home in uniform, Lord. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Suzanne, it looks as though Mr. Thomas is not here. Mr. Savoy is working tonight. Mr. Hillensbeck is not here. And Mr. Byricker is not here. For the chair's additions, there are no chair additions. So item number 4 in the public comment period, we just remind the public we encourage you to participate in this meeting, and if you have any comments, our secretary, Ms. Suzanne Patterson, has sign-in cards, and you can sign up on any particular agenda item, and then we'll address that as we get to that particular item. I want to go out of order just a little bit to help some scheduling, and I'd like to take item number 8 right now, which is contract renewal for the ETEL Centrex system. And we have Ms. Joan here, is from our purchasing department.
Good evening. The 2006 ETEL Digital Centrex Service Agreement. The contract has been reviewed by Parish Legal Counsel Ricky Babin. The terms is 5 years or 60 months. We have no price change from the 2000 contract. The change in price is due to more lines that we have, 169 in 2006 versus 151 in 2000. Discounts are based on having the 5-year contract in place. The advantages to this system is the system does not require electrical service and will not go down with power outages. And we can add or remove lines at will. And I've invited Mike Dixon to help me with the presentation, and if you have any questions.
This is a renewal of existing services that the parish has had with us since 1992. It's for the phone system that currently is in all of the parish buildings. It's a service that ETEL provides. When she said it does not require electrical service, it requires ETEL central office to be operational. I think during the hurricane this past year, while electrical service was spotty in certain areas, the ETEL service, no matter what building you went into, as long as our central office was in operation, the phone service was in operation. This changes nothing from what you currently have. No phone numbers will change. The pricing hasn't changed. This is just a renewal of service. We have a good working relationship with your purchasing department. We do all the maintenance on the phone system. Any kind of problems, you give us a call. We either repair or replace the phones that you have, and we move on with it. And we try to get that accomplished within a 3-day period of a call. That's really about it.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Is there any discussion or questions? Just for our enlightenment, Mike, what is the annual fee?
You pay,
price?
it's around $13,000 a month is what you pay for phone services with us.
For 160-something lines? That's
For 169
probably not too
lines,
bad
that's
for a
correct.
commercial line.
Just as to remember when y'all first signed this contract, and I think it was 92, you had 70 lines. And just the growth over the period.
Ms. Fontenot has a question.
Well, I was just wondering, now that Cox is offering phone service, do we have to bid that out?
Huh, good question.
I'm not as sure if their service is available in all locations.
Well, I'm just asking because, I mean, we don't need to get into any kind of legal.
Mr. Valentine.
I'm going to say,
Pending.
because it's a service, there might be a possibility that we can do that without bidding. I know recent past life that happened in certain instances, but of course ETEL, not a monopoly, but it was only at carry at one time, so that might be something we just check into. But we're just going to send this on to the council
onto
for
the
vote
full
anyway,
council.
yeah.
And
And
there
And
are,
maybe we
pending
can,
legal
maybe we
also
can
on the-
research that, Martin,
motion.
and make sure that we okay on that.
okay. Suzanne, as part of Mr. Todd Lambert's motion, would you just add in there that, to make certain we're not required to bid this with legal? That was part of his motion. I'm gonna guess no, and the reason being is, rebidding, you're not just rebidding the service, it would be all of the equipment and everything that is already installed. So if we went from one company to the other, we'd have to remove all the equipment
That's
and
correct.
take theirs
Yeah,
as well.
that's
So it's not just a matter of switching carriers.
Right, it's not as easy as switching long-distance services or something else.
You might be able to just get quotes and then do that, so it's fine.
I would think so. Yeah, when we build the new super complex somewhere, we'll think about that then.
We'll be happy to give you a quote for that.
Are there any more questions? Is there any opposition? Then the motion passes, and we'll put that on the agenda for the council meeting on March 23rd, Mike.
We'll be there.
Normally it would be next week, but because of Police Jury Association convention, it's been delayed a week. So this will be considered by the full council on March 23rd.
Sounds good.
2 weeks from tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for moving me up.
Have a good time.
All right.
Item number 5, we'll go back in order then. Item number 5 is, does anyone have any new business that's not on the agenda that they would like to discuss tonight? Does anyone have any old business, item number 6, that they would like to discuss tonight? Then we'll move on to item number 7, which are our monthly finance department reports, and we have our Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer, Ms. Gwen LeBlanc, and Assistant Treasurer, Ms. Amanda Barat.
Good evening, members of the council. The first item on the agenda is a review of the Lamar Dixon Fund. If you recall at your last finance meeting, you asked for a more detailed report, so you have that in front of you. Everybody's located?
This is the one that says 2005 Lamar Dixon detail recap of Parish financials?
Correct. Okay, so just to go over it, of course, this started July 1st of '05, and we did not have a fund balance, naturally. So the revenues and transfers in were consisted of the miscellaneous revenues. That was from SMG, and that was per their contract. It was a transitional costs and expenses allocation to the parish of $50,000. Interest earned $1,300, and then transfers in from the sales and use tax, the $1 million. So our total revenues and transfers in 2005 was $1,051,317. The expenditures in 2005, we paid the lease purchase payments to the Lamar Dixon Foundation, $137,115. We acquired some equipment, a tractor per our contract for $8,669, and we paid some insurance for $40,210. And then the professional services was the SMG contract. They drew down $243,390. And then in the interim agreement in June, we had incurred expenses to the Lamar Dixon Foundation in the amount of $7,304, which accounted for the total expenditures for the year of $436,687. So you subtract what you spent from what you received, and you ended up the year with a fund balance of $614,630. So that's how we started off 2006. The unaudited beginning fund balance is brought forward to $614,630. The revenues we anticipate in 2006 and the transfers in, there's a congressional appropriation that's in the budget for $250,000, and then interest will be calculated at the end of the year. Transfer in from the sales and use tax district number 1 will be $336,000 for total transfers and revenues of $586,000 in 2006. And the expenditures were the lease payments to the Lamar Dixon Foundation, $240,000, the insurance, $100,000, and the SMG drawdown, according to their budget, $575,000, which equals total expenditures in 2006 of $915,000. So if you add your fund balance to your current year's revenues minus your expenditures for that year, we project in 2006 with $285,630. Now, this is all budgeted. I mean, you know, it's going to change to actual as we incur and receive revenues and incur expenses.
Thank you. Gwen, Ms. Fontenot, you have a question?
The 250 we have not received yet.
Right, no, that's
Right,
budgeted.
so this is pending, this fund balance is pending on getting that.
Getting revenues and expenditures either less or more than what we budgeted.
And the 336,000 is what we are taking out of our 1 cent sales tax for
Exactly.
for this year,
For this year.
to add to last year's million.
Fund balance, right.
Right.
That was the compromise we worked out in
Right.
the budget
Okay.
agreement.
Right. If
Thank
you
you.
recall, the balance went to the road construction fund.
I don't want to speak for him, but I do believe the parish president told me that the 250,000 was, that he had spoken to Senator Vitter this past weekend, and I think it's a done deal. I believe the president signed that legislation to fund that, so it's not floating out there anymore. Mr. Valentine?
Yeah, Ms. Gwen, I don't remember everything involved in the lease, but do we not have operational expenses that are not here? In other words, electrical, I mean,
No,
upkeep?
That's all paid by SMG.
Okay, so that's all paid
See,
by
when they
SMG
give you
on their
the-
draw?
Yeah.
Okay, on
And
that,
as
so when they draw, they
incur a
take care of all,
deficit.
that's all in their contract.
Right.
So they have to take care of all the operational,
Exactly.
any upkeep from all the storm damage that we had, all that's taken care of in there?
Right.
All right.
In our contract with the Lamar Dixon Foundation, any general maintenance, you know, is paid by the parish. Like if, the sewer system, you know, pump burns up, that's not SMG's liability, that would be the
That's
parish's.
ours. Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, thanks. When you've got the next report then?
That
Hurricane
is
Katrina.
the Hurricane Katrina and Rita. Once again, at the last finance meeting, we said we'd give a more detailed report. One of the questions was, what funds received what percent of the proceeds from the reimbursement from FEMA? The first item up there is Hurricane Katrina reimbursements received through 3/7. As you can see, we received everything except the regular time labor, and that's still being discussed about whether they will refund regular time. They reimbursed us for all of our overtime, but they're not, you know, it's still in discussion about the regular time. And the utilities, that's the Winn-Dixie Center. That was a utility bill on that. We expect to receive that in full. And then the second little chart is the Rita hurricane. And once again, we've received everything from that storm that we turned in except the same thing, the regular time labor. We received the overtime, but not the regular time. And then what you requested was, what did each fund receive of those reimbursements? So that's the last little chart. You can see that the general fund was reimbursed $124,000, Road and Bridge $29,850, East Ascension Regular Drainage Fund $18,325, and the East Ascension Major Drainage, which was the bulk of our expenses, $234,379. And West Ascension Drainage, $2,300. The Health Unit, $35,400. Our Mental Health Fund, $928. Our Recreation Fund, $426. Our Maintenance Fund, $4,350. Fire District Number 1, $17,850, and Fire District Number 3, $1,235, for a total reimbursement of $439,000. I mean, 69, I'm sorry. And on the second page, we have a breakdown of the entities that applied through the parish, and they were all refunded 100%.
That's good news. I'm glad to see that.
If there's any
Anybody got
questions?
questions about this reimbursement report? Okay, then let's go into the sales and use tax report.
Okay, that's the normal charts that you are familiar with, and they represent our two sales tax districts and the East Ascension Drainage that has a half-cent sales tax. The first one is East Ascension Drainage, and these are the February collections, which represent the January sales. And if you go through each one, the two sales tax districts and East Ascension Drainage, you can see that January sales, February collections were very good. 28.8% for East Ascension Drainage, 24.3% for the 1 cent sales tax district, and 23% for the half-cent sales taxes. And the year-to-dates, you can see they were very positive too. So what we're seeing is a continuance of the higher sales tax collections. There were no significant audits, and the increases were realized in sectors such as retail was up, and I'm talking about just February collections compared to February last year, 52.6%, and the business and industrial suppliers were up 31%. The contractors were up 17.6%, and motor vehicle sales was up 46%. So that was the sectors that, we were gauging that were realizing the increases. And the second page of that is the bar charts. The first one is showing you each sales tax with the comparison from February, year-to-year comparison. So you can see how it's the red chart represents year-to-date, January and February from '05 to '06, and you can see there's also up. And then the third one is kind of a historical chart, the third page, for each sales tax, and you can see how 2005 did really well, and that 2006 hopefully will have the same results, if not better.
Smart.
Are there any questions?
Mr. Todd Lambert has.
Looking at the charts, it looked like 2006 is going to be probably greater than 2001, which was probably our booming year that we had.
2001 was our highest sales tax year in the history of
2006
our
looked like it's
sales
on
taxes.
a race to beat it, so that looks good.
If it continues.
Yes.
You may have to increase your chart.
You have to put another line on top of it.
Gonna go off the top of the chart.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Thank you, Todd. Item D then is our end of the year 2005 report.
Right, and you recall at the last finance meeting, we also said that we'd try to give you a little bit more detail of how we ended 2005. So we've prepared some information to you, and Amanda Barat will give that report. Amanda.
I forgot to label it. This is the 2005 unaudited year-end financial report. The general fund revenues were at 96% of the budget. This is primarily due to the transfer from sales tax being reduced to a level to balance the general fund in accordance with the budget ordinance. However, there was some revenue increases in ad valorem tax, building permits, planning fees, and OLTs. The expenditures of the general fund were at 97% of the budget, and this is primarily due to decrease in expenses for the following departments. St. James Youth Center, expenses reduced by approximately $200,000. Legislative and executive, approximately $27,000 each. The building department, approximately $70,000, and economic development, approximately $50,000. Other various departments were either at or below their budget also. Public Works funds, road and bridge revenues were at 92% of the budget, and this was primarily due to the transfer from sales tax being reduced to a level to balance the road and bridge budget in accordance with the budget ordinance. Parish transportation and sale of property revenues increased. Expenditures were at 93% of the budget, and there are no unanticipated expenditures. Your road and bridge construction fund revenues at 112% of the budget, and the increase of $318,500 is primarily due to the sales tax collections being over budget. Expenditures were at 87% of the budget, and this is based on construction that started in 2005 that will carry over to 2006. East Ascension drainage revenues were at 108% of the budget, and the increase of $218,000 was primarily due to increase in ad valorem taxes. Expenditures were at 84% of the budget, and there were no unanticipated expenditures, and they improved their fund balance. East Ascension major drainage revenues at 106% of the budget. This increase of $512,000 is primarily due to the increase in sales taxes and sale of property. Expenditures at 92% of the budget. There is no unanticipated expenditures, and the fund balance remains stationary. East Ascension major drainage construction revenues at 108% of the budget. The increase of 140,000 is primarily due to interest received. Also in 2005, 1.5 million was transferred to this fund from the East Ascension major drainage fund. Expenditures were at 79% of the budget. The next page, West Ascension drainage revenues were at 95%, and this is due to a slight decrease in ad valorem taxes. Expenditures were at 98% of the budget, and there are no unanticipated expenditures, and was able to improve their fund balance also. Your sales tax district number 1, revenues at 104% of the budget. The increase of 466,600 is due to sales tax collections. Expenditures were at 89% of the budget. These funds were dispersed in accordance with the budget ordinance. The fund balance was improved to an adequate amount. Sales tax number 2, revenues at 106% of the budget. This increase of 310,000 is due to the sales tax collections. Expenditures at 106% of the budget. These funds were dispersed in accordance with the budget ordinance.
I just want to make a comment. When we're talking about the increases in the sales taxes, if you recall, we amended our 2005 budget in November, so these represent the increases over what we even anticipated in November that we would receive. So the sales tax increases was much greater than that for the entire year.
Thank you, Gwen.
Fire districts and road and bridge construction received additional funds due to higher sales tax revenues than budgeted. Fire district revenues of fire district number 1, 2, and 3 increased due to the increase in sales tax collections, and expenditures were at or below budget. Fire district number 1 and 3 incurred bonded indebtedness for capital outlay and equipment purchases in 2005. The parish government also entered into a contract with fire district number 3 to provide financial and legal services for their new 10-meal property tax and parcel fee that were effective beginning year 2005. Your recreation funds, Recreation A revenues at 104% of the budget. This increase of 46,500 is due to increase in sales tax collection. Expenditures at 91% of the budget. This allowed the fund to improve the fund balance. Recreation B, revenues and expenditures are received and dispersed in accordance with the contract between the parish and the city of Donaldsonville for West Side Recreation. The fund received 10% of revenues that Recreation A received from the sales tax district number 1. The jail fund revenues at 100% of the budget. This fund receives its revenue from a transfer from the general fund. Expenditures at 98% of the budget. Lighting district revenues came in at budget, and expenditures were slightly over budget due to increase in fuel charge on electrical bills. The assessor is to determine appropriate millage prior to the adoption of the millages this year. Lighting district number 7, election in 2006 to renew the millage. The last page is just the fund balances. When we did the budget, we projected what the fund balance would be. In the first column, the second column is what the fund balance is unaudited, and it just gives you the difference, and you can see that the difference is $13,346,870. And this is due primarily due to an increase in the ad valorem tax and sales tax, and the proceeds from sale of bonds for fire district number 1 and 3, and construction fund projects that carried over to 2006. Also, the funds that needed to improve their fund balance did well during the year 2005.
Amanda, why is there such a difference in the EA Major Sinking Fund for debt service? We had projected a $340,000 fund balance, and we only had a 63. That's the only one that...
Well, at the time we did the budget, I wasn't aware of the drainage bond, that it was going to settle in that year, and they reduced the fund balance to pay off.
Is that what it was?
Right.
It was, okay.
That refunded issue. That was done in 2005. So, is there-
Okay, question? Nice report. Amanda, you can bring reports like that all the time.
I had the January reports, if y'all want me to give you a copy of them. I didn't know if you wanted me to go over those two, or just give you a copy?
If you just, I think so. I think if you just pass out copies to everybody, and then if they have questions,
I mean,
you're
everything
always-
is pretty much in budget. It kind of looks a little bit off because of the accruals, most of the expenses, revenue and expenses are accrued back to 2005 for January. And even some revenues have a negative amount, and that's because it's an automatic reversal, and it'll correct itself in February. Because some revenues were collected in February that we accrued back also.
All right, why don't you just distribute those, and then anybody who has any questions can contact the finance office. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? Amanda, thank you very much for that
Thank you,
report.
Amanda.
Item number 9 then is road lighting district number 7, and it's to authorize our bond council to prepare the necessary documents to order and call an election to renew the millage for road lighting district number 7 of the Parish of Ascension, Louisiana. Said election to be called for September 30th, 2006. Mr. Adrian Thompson.
Yes, all it is to go out to do a renewal for that lighting district, lighting district 7 on the west side of the river.
Right. And I just
Motion.
wanted to explain, I put a little packet in front of you, and it's the schedule for the elections, and it contains some good information. After the cover page on page 1, you'll see they start with the 2006 elections, and January 21st, April 1st, April 29th, July 15th, September 30th, November the 7th, and December the 9th. The one that we want to call the Councilman Thompson wants to call the election is the September 30th. And you can see that propositions are allowed on that election. And on the next page, it tells you with each election, starting with the January 21st, what can be called. Like, and January 21st is gone, but it was propositions only. The April 1st election is for the municipal elections, and of course, the general election will be April the 29th if there's a runoff. And on July 15th, it's propositions only. And then the very next page will show you the September 30th, and that is for parish court judge. School board members are up for election at that time. And then also that's when we'll add, propositions are allowed, so we'll add road lighting district number 7. And then the primary election is a congressional election on November 7th with the runoffs on December the 9th if necessary, and that's for the U.S. representatives. And then the next page with the district attorney's letterhead, Councilman Thompson had asked what was the max that a road lighting district could call, what's the max millage they could call, and you can see that Assistant District Attorney Ricky Babin has opined that 5 mills is indeed the max in road lighting districts. And the very last page is just a recap of all the parishes, just our taxing districts and their 2005 millage and the expiration dates. And if you go down to lighting district number 7, you can see that the expiration date is 2006.
Motion by Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Mr. Thompson, to recommend this to the full council. Mr. Thompson, discussion?
Yes, Ms. Gwen, the millage right now is 5 mills, right?
Right.
Okay. And expire, the millage now, this lighting district expires when?
The last year we can collect millage is 2006. So, you know, when the election will be to renew it beginning for 10 years, 5 mills, beginning 2007.
Gwen, this document, is it a typo? This says lighting district number 7 gets 5.01 mil.
That's because of reassessment. You know, we probably can call it for 501 due to reassessment, and this is a reassessment year, but that you can't call a new tax for more than 5. But because of reassessment, if your property values, you know, go up or down, it's adjusted according, by the assessor to yield the same amount it did the year before. So I'm gonna talk to Malcolm about that. I'm sure on a renewal, we can put it at 5.01.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any opposition? Then the motion passes, and Suzanne, if you would add that to the March 23rd agenda as well. Item number 10 is the Lamar Dixon Expo Center update, And that's there in your packet. I have to tell you, Mr. Eddie Crawford, the manager for SMG, called me today. Today's the beginning of the Louisiana Outdoor Show at Lamar-Dixon. Also, they were expecting some very, very bad weather, which fortunately has passed us by. But he was concerned that with that event beginning this evening and the combination of bad weather, he felt more comfortable if he had been there on site. So I asked him if he would fax his information over, and which he has. Your report is here. It's just, I'm sorry, nobody from SMG was able to come and deliver it. If you'd like to go through it, we can sit and go through this report as well. Is that one, Cheryl, the one?
Yeah.
Okay. But you can notice that the net loss, the net income or the net loss was projected to be $84,000. I'm sorry, yeah, it was projected to be 84. It was 87, so there was a variance of $3,200. And he told me that was because there were some cancellations due to the storm, that there were some events that were scheduled that were canceled because of the storms that came through. Yeah, in fact, you can even see that. He's made a pretty good note of it. The Crew of Romany Mardi Gras Ball was canceled. The Career Builders Career Connection was canceled. Circus Gaddy was canceled. So several things. But right now is the outdoor show. It is going on. It looks like the weather has passed us by. So if y'all want to take a moment, and by the way, Mr. Eddie Crawford said that he would be available to anybody. 621-1700 is his number if you'd like to call him. If there are no more questions on that, then I'll move on to item 11, and because the council meeting is still 2 full weeks away, Ms. Suzanne tells me we're a little bit early, and there are no agenda items except those that we voted on tonight. So.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Valentine to adjourn. So we are adjourned. Thank you.
Do it 6:30.